Yes. So you are able to see the whiteboard, right? Okay. So you are able to see the whiteboard, right? Is visible, no? Okay. So we'll start our discussion. So last class, if you remember, you see, so we were discussing about stability of frames. Okay. So this we were discussing in our last class. So so the frames thing, you see, it's a very straightforward kind of a thing. Says, but only thing is, you should know this slope deflection equations. Okay. So whatever you studied in your undergraduate, but here we have modified, that is second order effects we say. So use this method, say. Okay. So you can solve any frame problem. Okay. So last class we have even seen this type of the truss, these triangular frames, you see any member actual. Okay. So you can derive, you see, the slope deflection equations, and you can solve the things itself, and then you can also find out the mode shapes also. Okay. So if we find, so the eigenvectors, say, so if we calculate eigenvalue and eigenvector, so you also will know what type of mode shape is going to affect it. So some problems, your symmetric mode shapes may give the lowest load. Some problems you can have asymmetric, you see, the thing also may give the lowest buckling mode actual. Okay. So this you can easily find out by solving your eigenvalues, that is your buckling load, you get, and then you see, you go and substitute, say, in your equations, calculate your eigenvector also. So the signs of your eigenvectors, say, will tell you whether it is a symmetric, or how these things are going to buckle itself. Okay. So now today, you see, let us just extend our discussion. See, suppose if you're having a frames like this, say. Okay. Like frames like this. And let us say, for the time being, assume everything is fixed. So now you have a frame like this. Now I want to find out, you see, the buckling load of this frame. So you have a load P. So here also there is a load P. Then here also, you see, you have a load P. Then here also you followed it, you have a load P. Okay. So A, then B, then you see C, D, then E, and then you see F kind of a thing. So for simplicity, say, okay, so we assume everything as EI, all of them are same kind of a thing. So now, how do we solve these type of problems? Now, so how do we solve? Uh, and let us say everything is L you followed, right? So each thing is for simplicity. So this is also L, this is also L. So beam length is also L. Okay. Now, how do you solve these type of problems? So now I want to find out this stability of our columns. Okay. So how good are our columns? So now which column will buckle? So like for example, you see AB, or there may be BC column will buckle, or you follow, right? So how things are going to behave? So now how do we start the problem? What are the steps now? And assume that for the time being, you see, no sway. Of course, you can consider sway also. Like for simplicity sake, there is no sway itself. Okay. And now how do you start the problem? What are the basic steps? First thing, what you have to do? Now, so now what is the first step? Hello. What is the first step? You have to write slope deflection. That
Yeah.
you have to write. But to write slope deflection equations, say, so now you have to decide, what are the, the independent variables are you followed, right? That you should be able to identify from the problem actually. Okay. Now, what are the independent variables here, or what are those, the geometric things you have to assume here? How many unknowns are there, like, uh, four rotations. Excellent. What are those? Theta B, theta C, theta D, and theta E actual. Okay. Now suppose if there is a sway is also allowed, so then how many unknowns will be there? Yeah. So apart from this force, you will also will have this delta also will come into picture actually. Okay, so this also will come here. So 4 plus 2, 6 unknowns here. So now what you have to do is, so if you have to identify this number of, the independent variables, or, this geometric kind of a thing. So you identify, you write your slope deflection. So these equations, they relate your bending moments, internal movements to your, these geometric things, and then you write joint equilibrium equations also. Okay, so you will get, a nice equations actually. So if there are 4 unknowns, say, you should get, some 4, equilibrium equations. So now 4 by 4 matrix kind of a thing you should have. So your theta b, theta c, theta d, theta you should be equal to 0. So the determinant of that matrix will give you, the buckling loads. And then to find out the buckling mode shapes, once you have got the buckling load, you substitute back, and then you can find out theta b, theta e, theta c, theta d kind of a thing, and you can identify how this, your columns are going to buckle actually. Okay, whether it is a symmetric or unsymmetric, or some other complicated shapes, you can easily get from this equations itself. Okay, now anyway, this problem is very simple, straightforward, and it is a perfect symmetric problem. You can see PP here also, PP, everything is symmetric kind of a thing. So now you see, you can write the slope deflection equation. So this is the first step. And of course theta a and theta f, say, these are all 0 0 kind of a thing we have. Okay, so now write this slope deflection equation. This is the first step. So now the slope deflection equations say. Okay, so now you can write for all of them because symmetry also, but anyway, so MBA. Okay, so MAB also you can write. Now MBA say, so your MBA will be, you followed, right? So this is something like, EI by L kind of a thing. So you have some the coefficients. I'm just denoting as some S N1 theta B kind of thing, because theta A is 0, and since there is no sway, say, so your delta by L, so that also will be there. So when there is a sway, so you have some additional terms actually. Okay, so like delta by L kind of a thing, you have, S1 plus S2. So this extra term will come into picture when there is a sway. If there is no sway, say, that also is gone. Okay, so now this is MBA, then MBE. So MBE is nothing but your beam actually. Okay, so if you see this one, so this comes for the beam. So MBE, say, so this also you can write as, you see, EI by L. Okay, so I'm just notation is slightly different. So theta B plus you see your S, you see, F2, say, something, just the notation I'm just changing. So theta E kind of a thing, and there is no delta by L because there is no sway. So now similarly, so MBC, this is also a column actual. Okay, so this also EI by L. So if you write, you see, your S N3 theta B kind of a thing, plus your S F3 theta C. Okay, now similarly, say, so MCB, so this also will be EI by L. Now, so your sorry. Yeah, so now you see, so your S N3 theta C plus S F3 theta B kind of a thing. Okay, and your MCD, so this also if you try to write, so EI by L. Okay, so your S, you see, N4 theta C kind of a thing, plus you see S F4 theta B kind of a thing. So these are our slope deflection equations. Now for slope deflection equations, for columns, now your coefficients actually. Okay, so they depend, you have to use the slope deflection coefficients, including this the axial forces. Okay, so this is the most important thing now. Okay, now for beams, say, okay, so we neglect these axial forces, so that 4 to that itself will come into picture. Suppose if there is a load like this, say, okay, see, suppose on the beam also you have a lateral load like this, see, some some S or some Q kind of a load is there, then your slope deflection equations will be, you see, you may have to consider this in on the beam also, effect of this the axial forces also. Okay, so otherwise, you can take your coefficients to be this itself. So now because the horizontal members doesn't have, so your SN2, then your SN4, so there are 4 kind of a thing. Then you have SF2, then SF4. So these are all 2. Okay. So this is how our numbers looks like. Okay, for the beams. So now so now you have this the slope deflection equations are there. Now we write this the joint equilibrium equations. Okay, So now at each joints, say you write this joint equilibrium equations also. So now at the joints B and C, say, okay. So you have MBA plus is a BE plus you see MBC is equal to 0. Then at joint C, say you have MCB plus MCD is equal to 0. And then similarly say, so now we have written for joints B and C here. Now you have to write for similarly for joints you see E and D itself. Okay, so if you write for joints you see E and D, say now. So now the equations will be you see, so joint E and C. So you have M you see ED plus M you see EB plus M is EF. So this is equal to 0. So these are joint this one. Now similarly say M DC plus M is DE is equal to 0. So these are our joint the equilibrium equation. So now what you have to do is you see the slope deflection, say whatever terms we have written. So all these quantities so you substitute in this the joint equilibrium equations. Okay, so substitute your slope deflection. Okay. So it's all straightforward. Okay, so substitute your slope deflection equations in joint equilibrium. So now 4 equations are there, 4 unknowns are there. Okay, equations you see. So now you substitute, and then finally you will get a a nice matrix kind of a thing you have. So like this you have. Okay, you can rearrange them. So theta B, then theta C, then theta you see theta D, theta B, theta C, theta D, and then theta E. Okay, so you will have equations you see like this. So right hand side will be 0 0 0 0 kind of a thing. So this is your equation comes. Okay, so now for non-trivial solutions so now this determinant of this matrix say, okay, so this has to be equated to 0. So now you solve this matrix so you will get your buckling load. Okay, so this is how we will solve. So now since this is a 4 by 4 matrix, say, so you will have you see the 4 roots will be there, and there will be several roots corresponding to this 4 roots, because the inside your S1 S2 those coefficients you have terms like you see tan beta, cot beta, and other things are there. So now you see, so you will have to have some 4 mode shapes will be there, and for each mode shape, say, there will be you see infinite number of roots are possible from this transcendental equations. So now this problem, say, so for this problem the lowest root, so if you can solve on a computer very easily in MATLAB, so this lowest root will be something you see your K3 so since okay see now since so K1 is so we write like this, so 2p by EI kind of a thing, because the one load 2 loads are there, right, and K3 say, so this is the root of p by EI kind of a thing. So like so here there is a difference here. So now on the columns, say, you can see on this BC column you are having only p, but when you consider AB or this bottom column, say, so you are having this 2p comes into picture. Okay, so that also you have to be very careful in substituting in these equations here. And finally, say, so it appears that your K3L is equal to so 3.55, and finally the lowest buckling load, say, okay, so this is 12.6 EI by L square kind of a thing you have. Okay, so this is the buckling load how to calculate for this frame itself. Okay, so this is how we calculate for the entire this itself. And now to find out the buckling the mode shape, say, okay, so now you substitute your buckling load, and then you calculate your theta B, theta C, then theta D, and then theta E. Okay, so their sign changes itself will tell you how this mode shape is going to become. So now this frame, say, how it is going to buckle without even doing the problem, say, can you find out what type of mode shape it will be? Because of symmetric and all other things are there, so how this is going to buckle now? See how can you draw any mode shape here for this problem, say?
Symmetric mode shape.
It is basically symmetric mode shape. Okay, you can have asymmetric also, but you can your problem itself will tell you the eigenvector. Okay, so you can easily guess. So this is B, then C, then D, E. So now because of symmetric, say, so theta B should be same as you see. So if it is symmetric, say, so theta C will be same as minus theta B, and your theta d say will be same as minus theta c. The eigenvector also you can easily find out. Okay, so now if you try to plot the buckling mode shape, you see something like this it will be. So this will be like this, whereas you see this portion will be, you know, this one, and then you have you know, so the column is going to buckle, you know, this type of a shape, and whereas this side say. Okay, so this is how you see the column is going to buckle, like this frame, okay, is going to buckle under this critical buckling load. Okay, so this way you can find out, you see, the buckling load and then even the buckling mode shape also for this framed structures. Okay, so now let us see one more you know, the interesting problem. Okay, that is a two-bay frame, how to calculate for this one also. Now, so two-bay frames say. Okay, so how do we calculate, you know, this buckling load? Okay, so now you know, let us say you have a frame like this. Now previously we have done simply supported this fixed problem. Now let us assume that all are, you know, the simply supported. Okay, so you have a frame like this, two-bay frame, two bays are there. Let us say this is A, then this is B, then C, then D. So this C, D is here, this is your E, and then F. Okay, so now you have this load P. Now this is also load P. Now this is also load P. Let us say, you know, this is LC. So the height of all the columns is, you know, LC kind of a thing. Then height of all the beams is this length is, you know, LB. This is also LB. Okay. Yeah. So now for beams, say it is IB, the moment of the inertia. So IB, and let us say for columns, you see IC, IC, and then IC. Okay, so this is a two-bay frame, you know, how it is going to buckle. Okay, so now here you see, so now as already I told you, whenever you solve any problems here, okay, so now you know, the most important thing which is the starting point is whether sway is there or no sway. Okay, so these are the two conditions, you know, you have to see. Now for the time being, assume that you see no sway, you will solve for sway also. If there is no sway, okay, now in this type of problems say, okay, now you know, how do you know that your answer will be correct? How do you check? See, for frames, the most important thing is, you know, whatever answer you are going to get, say you know, you may get some answer, but how do you check whether your answers are correct or not?
It should lie within the limits.
So now here what are the limits for this two bay? See now suppose IB, IC are there, say, okay. How do you check whether they are in the limits or not? So previously we have said that IB tends to infinity, then IB tends to 0. Now tell me whether if IB is 0, say, what will be the buckling load here? Now, IB is 0, so that means beam doesn't have you know, no stiffness at all. No. No, now, but there is no sway. Sway is not allowed actually. Okay. So now, what will be the boundary condition? See below here, it is a simply supported kind of a thing. Now here, because there is no sway, say, okay. So you know, your translations and other, these are all rigid joints actually. Okay. So now the translation is not you know, the allowed, but IB is you followed, right, tends to 0. So now you can decide, you see, so the buckling modes, you know, for this type of thing, like simply supported one end. Now at the top, say, the translation is not allowed, and you can find out, you see, what is the buckling load. That is same, I think, pi square A previously also we have calculated. Now when IB is infinity, say, which means, you know, this is simply supported and this is a fixed end actually. Okay, so now you know the value already, so you can verify. Okay, so to know whether you are getting, you see, the right answers or not. Okay, so now for this problem, say, so now you know, so as already I told you, the first step is you know, you have to find out the unknowns here. And now here, what are the unknowns? What are the independent variables? See, what are the independent variables here? What are the rotations? How many rotations are there now? 6 are there. Okay, so 6 rotations are there, but you know, theta A, theta B, then theta C, theta D, then theta E, and theta F. 6 rotations are there. But the advantage is, it is, although you say as you know, that 6 rotations are there or not, but here the, you know, the thing is you followed, right. your slope deflection equations when you write, say, okay. So now what happens is at the supports A, D and F, say, your bending moment is 0 kind of a thing. So your MAB is 0. So what happens is when you write MAB in terms of theta A and theta B, so because MAB is 0, so your theta B can be expressed in terms of theta A itself. Okay. Similarly, C and D, similarly see your E and F. So now let us write the the slope deflection equations. Okay. So if you try to write the slope deflection equations, so total 6 rotations are there. So but of course so now at the joint A, okay. So if you try to write at A, say, okay, slope deflection equation, so your MAB, okay. So you can write this as EIC by LC kind of a thing. And of course your S1 into theta A plus S2 into theta B, okay, is equal to, but unfortunately this is simply supported, so this is equal to 0. So which means your theta A, say, is you see minus S2 by S1 times theta B. Okay, so these two are related. Now suppose the frame is allowed to sway, say. Now what happens if it is allowed to sway? Now, see if it is a sway, say. Now how this equation will look like? S1 theta A plus S2 theta B plus you also will be having S1 plus S2, that delta by L itself. Okay, so that also will come into picture when there is a sway. Since now in the present case, since there is no sway, say, so that term is automatically goes to 0. Okay, and now similarly, so your MBA. Okay, so now this also you can write as is EIC by LC. So now I say, so your S1 into this theta A, sorry, S2 into theta A. No, so S2 into theta A plus S1 into theta B. Okay, but since theta A and theta B are all related, say, so you can write this expression as MBA. So EIC. Okay, by some small some, I think we'll denote this as eta kind of a thing, eta into LC into theta B, where your eta, say, okay, you can write in terms of your S1, S2 and others. Yeah, so this can be written as some 1 by beta square, okay, 1 minus beta by tan beta. Okay, so now you have to substitute S1, S2 with axial forces. We have that complicated expressions, tan beta, cot beta kind of a thing. So if you substitute and then do some algebra, say, okay, so you can nicely express in terms of like this. Okay, so this now MBA is over. Now similarly you can do for MCD because of symmetry. So you can easily write MCD is equal to EIC by LC, then theta C. Then you have this, of course, this eta into EIC, then M is EF. Okay, so this also is EIC by eta into LC kind of a thing, then theta E. Okay, so these are our slope deflection equations. Okay, although we are having this 6 rotations are there, but one can be expressed in terms of this one. So finally the problem the boils down to your 6 to 3 itself. Okay. So now you are having a theta B, then theta C, then theta E. And now to find out our buckling loads, now we write our joint equilibrium equations. Okay. So now our joint equilibrium equations is set. Okay. So all are of course, if you write this before writing the joint equilibriums, we should write for the beams also the slope deflection equations. Okay. Now we have written for the columns. Now for the beams also, if you write the slope deflections, say. Okay. So now your MBC. Okay. So you can write this as EIB by LB. Okay. So 4 times theta B plus 2 times theta C. Now this 4 and 2 we are using because there is no axial forces in the beams. Suppose if there is a lateral load acting on the your frames, then you may have to use the whatever column equations itself also. Okay. Now similarly MCB. So this is EIB by LB into 2 times theta B plus 4 times theta C. Okay. Now similarly, so this side also if you write MCE. Okay. So EIB by LB. So 4 times theta C plus 2 times theta E. Okay. Now similarly, say you write the last one, that is MEC. So this also is EIB by LB. 2 times it is reverse. 4 times is theta e. Okay, so these are the slope deflection equations for the beams. Now we have written the slope deflection equations for the columns also, and now we will write our joint equilibrium. Okay, so now our joint equilibrium, there are only 3 unknowns only are there. Okay, so now at joint B, so that is MBA plus MBC is equal to 0. So this is for joint B. Now similarly you have to write for joint C and joint E. So MCB plus MCD plus MCE is equal to 0. So this is another one. Now the other joint say MEC plus your MEF. Okay, so this is equal to 0. So now you substitute say all your slope deflection equations in this joint equilibrium equations, deflection equations in the above equation, in the equilibrium equations, you see. So finally you will have 3 unknowns are there, so 3 equations are there. So finally you will get, you see, a matrix like Ax is equal to 0 kind of a thing you have. And if you write nicely say, so you will get, so so this matrix will be there, and you will be having, you see, your theta b, then theta c, and then you see your theta e kind of a thing. So right hand side will be 0 0 0 kind of a thing. So now for non-trivial the solutions, so your so the determinant of this A, so this matrix has to be 0. Okay, so now if you write it nicely say, so this matrix this one, so this becomes 1 by eta plus 4 times gamma, 2 times gamma. We will define what is gamma. So 2 times gamma, then 1 by eta plus 8 times gamma. This is 2 times gamma, then 0, 2 times gamma, 1 by eta plus 4 times gamma. So determinant of this has to be equal to 0, where your C and this eta we have already defined. So this gamma is nothing but, if you write in terms of like this, IB into LC by IC into LB. Okay, so this is how the gamma comes. Okay, so the and eta also So now so the determinant of this matrix has to be 0. So when you try to find out the determinant say, so you have 1 by eta plus 4 times your gamma, so multiplied by 1 by eta square plus 12 times gamma by eta. Okay, so this is 12 plus 24 gamma square is equal to 0. So you will get, you see, equation 0, the characteristic equation or something. So now you have to solve this equation. So here the for eta. Okay, so this is our the main thing. So gamma anyway depends on your beam stiffness and column stiffness and their lengths. So now you have to solve for this eta. And your eta contains, as already I told you, right, all the transcendental beta, that thing KL and other things will be there. So your buckling load, say, it is incorporated in your eta, which is a transcendental, say. So now for the roots for this equation, say, okay. See, generally in our, in your dynamics or whatever courses you have studied, say, see, when the determinant of the matrix is 0, so this is a 3 by 3 matrix, so you will get 3 roots. Okay. Now, which root you will take generally? See, if you see this, it is a 3 by 3, you should get a cubic equation. But here, because of some symmetry in the problem or some advantage, you have like one quadratic equation you have here for eta square, and you have one ordinary, it's just like a straight line kind of a thing you have. So generally, where will be the lowest root? No, this portion or this quadratic portion? Generally, gut feeling, what does it tells you? So you would have done in dynamics or other principal stresses there also. So generally it's a cubic equation. So but it is not a cubic equation. It is split into one linear and one the quadratic kind of a thing. So generally, where will be the smallest root? Just gut feeling where it will be. Many this type of problems. Now, what does generally what do we assume in our many problems say? So lowest root will be in this or this portion, quadratic or this portion. So if I write the roots also, like you see 1 by the first root say, which comes from the minus 4 times gamma, that is this portion actually. Okay, the first one. Now the quadratic equation if you solve say, so 1 by eta, the second one. So this is minus 6 plus 2 root 3 times your gamma. So this is minus 2.536 times gamma. Okay, so this is the second root. Now the third root, which comes from your quadratic equation. Okay, so this will be minus 6 minus 2 times root 3 times is your gamma. So this will be minus 9.464 times is the gamma. Okay, and now so what is the most important thing now? Which is the smallest root in these three? Now tell me which is the smallest one. Which one? Third one. See, third one is minus 9.464. Don't worry about all are negative only. You follow, right? Don't go by that convention. Okay. So which is the smallest of all these three? See, first one is 4. Second one is 2.536. Third one is 9.464. Now, which is smallest among these three? Second one. So but the another most important thing, second one is the smallest, that's perfectly fine. But another most important thing is so your buckling load, say, it depends on your gamma. So what is this gamma? As already I told you, so this gamma is nothing but your IB, LC, IC, LB. So it is your buckling load. So it depends on your stiffness of the beam and the column kind of a thing. So now when IB tends to infinity kind of a thing, so which means your gamma also goes towards infinity kind of a thing, it happens. Okay, so now you can just check also. See, like for example, if your beam has zero stiffness, say, okay, zero stiffness for the beam. So which means your gamma, say, it is basically 0. Okay, so now when the gamma is 0, say, what will be the boundary condition? Below it is simply supported, above, say, because you are not allowing sway, so it can rotate, but it cannot you follow, right? It cannot translate actually. Okay, so if you try to find out this buckling load, so which means your 1 by eta is a 0 kind of a thing. So which means your beta square tan the beta, then is tan beta, okay, minus beta. So this is equal to 0, which means your tan beta, say, okay, is equal to 0. So which means your beta square is equal to P times LC square by EIC is equal to pi square kind of a thing you have. So which means your P is basically pi square EIC by LC square. Okay, so which is same as you followed, right? Whatever, if you calculate, one end is supported, say, okay, and other end it cannot translate actually, but it can rotate, you followed, right? So this case, if you try to find out, so you can see that so you will get the same correct answer. So this is a way to check whether your answer is correct or not actually. Okay, so no translation here, so automatically, which means here also it is a simply supported kind of a thing itself. So now all of for simply supported, so answer is pi square EI by L square itself. So you will get the same answer here, which means whatever derivation you have done, so it is correct kind of a thing. So now when gamma tends to infinity also, you can verify yourself. Okay, so when gamma tends to infinity, say, that means your IB tends to infinity, that means beam is an infinite kind of a thing. So now you can also find out for this case also. So which means your bottom end is simply supported, okay, whereas the top ends, it is basically fixed actually, no sway, rotation, no nothing, and because IB is tends to infinity, so you can calculate in these expressions because the transcendental equation, so gamma is infinity, say, okay, so you can say that when gamma is infinity, okay, so which means your eta is 0. You can see here eta is in the reciprocal, so when gamma tends to infinity, say, so which means eta tends to 0 kind of a thing. Okay, so you can solve here. So when eta tends to 0, which means so 1 by beta square, 1 minus beta by tan beta, say, okay, which means this also automatically turns out to be, so tan beta is equal to beta kind of a thing, and your root, say, so your beta square will be 20.2, and finally you will get the same buckling load, so beta square is this one, so pi square the 20.2, which is same as one end the simply supported, other end is fixed kind of a thing. Okay, so these are very they check actually whether you are proceeding in the right direction or not. So your beta square, So your beta set depends on 20.2 is one thing. Other one is, you see, your pi square. So your beta square lies in between these two limits actually. Okay, when a IB this thing and IB b tends to 0. So you can also write this as a pi square, so less than your sorry, this beta square. Yeah. So less than, you see, 20.2, where your beta contains PL square by, you see, this EIC kind of a thing. So this is how, you see, we calculate the buckling load. So now because IB is not infinity and IB is not this one, so you can find out between these two limits, and you can even plot a graph also. Okay, like if you try to plot a graph, that is your PL square, okay, by EI, which is nothing but, you see, your beta square. Okay. Yeah. Versus gamma, that is your IB LC by IC LB. Okay, and now how this graph looks like. See, when IB is when gamma is 0, say what is the value. When gamma is 0, what is your x-axis? So y-axis. See, when IB is 0, we just derived, right? When IB is 0, that means 1 by eta 0. So finally your beta square, what is the value? Pi square actually. Okay, so pi square means 3.14. That means almost some 9 point something like that you have. So it starts. Let us say you take this as 10, say somewhere the graph goes like this actually. Okay, and finally when b tends to infinity, say, so all of them should go towards your 20.2 kind of a thing. So the roots they go like this. So this is the first root sorry, the second first root, if it is going like this, second root is the smallest one. So your roots will be all of them will go towards this one. Okay, and this is of course the third root, which is the highest the buckling law. You followed it. So this is your second root. Okay, so this is how you can calculate for frames, and you can verify also. Okay, so second root is the lowest, that is your 1 by eta, say, is minus 2.536 times is your gamma. Okay, so these are lowest root is given by this the second root. Okay, so the roots will be, of course, when IB tends to 0, when IB tends to infinity, of course all three roots they collapse towards 9.87, and the other side they collapse towards 20.02. Okay, so this is how we can calculate for the two wave frames. And now how do you find out the mode shape? How to find out the mode shape? See now how to find out the mode shapes. Now how to find the mode shape? See, like how to eigenvalues, to find out mode shape, what you have to do? Substitute the value.
Gamma and find the theta b, theta c, and theta e.
Yes, excellent. So now you can see what is the root here. The second root, we no need to solve anything. So this is the lowest root. So now you are able to hear, right? Hello?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
No, I think internet went, here. Okay, I think many of them are there. Okay. All of them left. So anyway, the meeting is, I think, recorded. I will post also. You are able to hear now?
Yes, sir. Should I text in the group?
Yes, yes. I don't know. Only 4 minutes are there. So anyway, I think we will continue in the next class. Okay.
Okay, sir.
How many are there?
Sir, 3.
Oh, previously many were there. No?
Yes, sir.
No, this internet went away suddenly. Now from mobile hotspot I am putting. Okay, then anyway, we will continue in the tomorrow's class. Okay.
Okay, sir.
We'll stop it.